Coming up in this episode, we introduce TEChBrits 3.0.
Yep, we talk about app.net versus Twitter.
And we talk about the Samsung Apple court case. If you missed that, then you've been hiding under a rock.
Yeah, and you find out what's going in this gap behind.
Alongside a couple of app reviews and a product review in there as well. So we have an action-packed episode lined up for you.
Yep.
Stay tuned after the intro. Boom. Hello and welcome to TEChBrits 3.0, otherwise known as Banana Waffles.
Yeah, or in Google Land, it's also known as version 2.483.7.9 Beta Developer Edition.
Yeah, we just like these code names to be easy to remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, starting off, we will be adding in new sections to this show. We're going to be adding in more product reviews, more app reviews, just to break up our usual kind of discussions.
Exactly, and of course, as the show evolves, we want you guys to put as much input into the show as you want. Of course, you can do that every week by suggesting us stories, or if you want us to include any new segments or anything like that, just give us the ideas. It is your show. We can't stress that enough.
Yeah, we reply to all comments, all emails, so anything you can input, that would be brilliant. This is your technology show, and let's make this a show for you, the community.
So, app.net, if you haven't heard of it, is a new service that was announced a few weeks ago. Now, it sounds like Twitter, it looks like Twitter.
Yeah, it's set from on a paid-for model, which is interesting.
Yeah, so basically, let's start from the beginning. The video on app.net's website is of, I'm assuming, the founder. And he's basically saying how social networks at the moment, they are all free. They're free models, but they're advertised models. And they want to cater, their customers are the advertisers, and they need to make the advertisers happy in order to make money.
Yeah.
What they want to do is they want to do the same thing, but cater to customers. That's their argument. You know, we want to make this the best experience for customers and developers as possible.
Yeah.
So, you know, we want that, and in turn, they give us money directly.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think of the fact that they've basically taken Twitter's model, but made it paid for, so that, do you think their argument's valid, essentially?
I think in terms of the way it can change the industry, I think is valid, but I don't think it matters too much to Twitter as such, because Twitter is quite a simple service. It's just sort of text, like, so I don't mind seeing sort of a little advert sort of placed in there, whereas something like Facebook or something like that, like I'd pay maybe sort of 20 quid to have a Facebook without all the adverts all over it. Like something which you're spending more time on, kind of thing, I reckon makes more sense.
You see, I wouldn't pay for either. I wouldn't pay. I won't pay for app.net. I think they're charging like $50 a month.
Oh, it's a monthly subscription as well.
It's either a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription. They're charging like $50, and but I don't agree with what they're saying, because I think by and large, as much as Twitter are catering to the advertisers because they have to make money, fair enough, they are still catering to consumers in a way.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it matters too much with Twitter because you're not seeing too much of the adverts, and when they do, they're just small little text adverts.
Exactly.
It's not obtrusive, but on services like Facebook, it's a bit more obtrusive.
Well, I don't even think it's that obtrusive on Facebook. Okay, they've added like trending news stories, but they're actually quite interesting. There are news stories which I've actually read through Facebook's trending news stories. The adverts on the side I ignore. You know, they're not even. My window's so small they get cut off. You know, I always make sure Facebook is that and that I don't see the side. But it's not like they're slamming adverts in the middle of your timeline. Of your personal timeline. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, George all of a sudden bought this today. Why not you buy it as well?
We're still talking about Facebook, yeah?
Yeah.
They pretty much do that.
Well, they don't.
Well, they do. It'll tell you every time your friends like to brand.
Well, yeah, but your friends have liked a brand. Your friends like brands.
Yeah.
I like, TEChBrits.
Cheeky plug there.
I like TEChBrits. It pops up. Maybe other people might like TEChBrits as well. The way that Facebook does
maybe some viewers out there.
Yeah, maybe. If you like it, why not, check out our Facebook timeline.
Facebook.com/TEChBrits.
Is that actually our URL?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, I've got to check that out. But what I'm saying is I don't think that people will pay for a service that they can get for free. They don't care about advertisements. They understand that companies need to advertise.
Well, it's an interesting model, like you said, taking the power away from the advertisers and giving it back to the consumers. With everything going free to play lately, like sort of games as well, it is interesting that they're actually charging for a service, whereas the whole industry is shifting to something else.
It's $50 a year, by the way.
$50 a year.
And $100 if you want the development APIs and that sort of thing.
Okay. So, what I can take from this is, to me, I think it's quite good for niche sort of social networks in a way.
Yeah.
Like app.net's mainly targeted towards developers.
Well, it's not. It's not at all. They want as many people on it. They want to be as big as Twitter, but they want to cater toward their consumer. Their whole market is their consumers are their customers. Everything they change about app.net is to benefit the customers. And there are a few things that kind of scare me a little bit about Twitter, and we'll get onto that in a minute. Mm-hmm. But I still believe that, people aren't willing to pay for songs. People aren't willing to pay for movies and TV shows. Why would they be willing to pay for a service which is optionally there for free? Unless app.net can offer that feature, which I've said this time and time again with Facebook and, the Facebook MySpace history, Facebook offered a cleaner, experience. That's why everyone switched. If app.net can say, well, you are paying $50 a year for, you can't say you're paying $50 a year for an ad-free experience. Yeah. You can't, that's not, enough to get, I believe, most people to move.
Yeah. Like I said, I think people will pay for niche networks. Like, if it's something that they're really interested in, then to get to that community, then I think they will. And I think that is why, like I said, app.net really is more targeted towards developers, because then developers can get on it and talk development between one another.
But consumers will be getting on it as well.
Consumers will be getting on it, but I'm not sure that many actually will, is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. I think the developers will get on it because of they're scared of what Twitter's doing. Again, we'll talk about that in literally a second. But I don't believe that app.net will succeed.
Between your sort of everyday kind of consumer. It won't be as big as Twitter. There's going to be more people
They want to bring down Twitter.
There's going to be more people using a free service than there is a paid service. And
of course,
a lot of my social habits happen on Twitter. A lot of my connections, I like to see what all my friends are doing. That all happens on Twitter.
Yeah.
A lot of those people will not be paying for app.net subscription.
Yeah, no, like I said, I will not be paying for an app.net subscription unless they can offer me something that is so wow that I can, kind of go, that is worth my $50 a year. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So while we're talking about app.net and Twitter, the reason a lot of people may switch to app.net is something interesting that's popped up in Twitter's land.
Yeah, this is their rules for third-party apps.
Right? Yeah, so essentially what they're doing is they're changing the APIs. And effectively what that's meaning is third-party apps aren't going to be around, might not be around much longer.
No, it seems to be only for the free apps.
Well, no, because Tweetbot for Mac, Alpha, which is free, but Tweetbot for Mac has gone.
Yeah, until they can make a paid-for version, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I haven't reviewed this too much. I was hoping you'll tell me more about this.
Well, no, essentially what I'm thinking is Twitter, if you close it off to even free apps, because your app is crap for iOS, I will say that now. Your app is crap for OS 10. And if you're going to basically lock out third-party developers with free apps, well, I'm not sure. You're looking evil, essentially.
Yes, it is worrying because I've always defended, and I think I've said this in a previous episode, how much I like Twitter, especially for its kind of free speech kind of element to it as well. That you could almost say whatever you like on Twitter, and in the past that they've Twitter themselves went to court to back up their users' privacy, whereas now there's been a couple of cases where the courts have told them to hand over details and tweets that people have made, and they've just done it now.
Yeah.
So, like you said, they are starting to look a bit more evil.
Well, not just that. I mean, if they lock out all these other third-party developers, we're stuck with Twitter's crappy apps, which makes you want to go, oh look, there's a nice third-party developer app for app.net. Ta-da!
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm just reading here about the new Twitter APIs. What they are doing is they're essentially just closing out the user tokens for apps. So they're limiting 100,000 user tokens. I don't think it's very good. I think Twitter, you're looking at it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
I might be getting an app.net account.
Yeah. The thing is, they used to be so good with their third-party developers. They used to have that little thing, sent via Tweetbot on iOS. Or
I've made myself a Twitter client before. It was just so simple.
Yeah, and they even used to advertise this is the Twitter client of the day. But now they've actually removed the little thing as well. I don't know if you noticed that.
Which actually tells you what app it's from.
Yeah, when it says sent from blah, you've removed that.
Yeah, it's
not looking good. It's not looking good.
No. To be honest, just someone else can come along and make a new free Twitter network. Let's go do it. Right,
let's move on to some app reviews. We're going to review some apps on our iPads and iPhones because, well, you had something on your iPhone, so you're going to do that, and then I'm going to show you something that popped up on my iPad. So we got to get your iPhone out of your phone.
Yeah, there is that.
And we're going to switch to our trademark camera so we can see what's going on.
Exactly. To camera free.
Okay, so the first app I want to show you is one called Renewed. Now, Renewed is for keeping track of all the shows that you watch on TV. You just log in with Facebook and it will automatically pull in all the shows that you've already liked. And you can basically just track whether each of them has been renewed for another season.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, so it automatically keeps track of exactly when they're going to be starting.
So when's Doctor Who starting?
Doctor Who's starting Saturday, September 1st.
That's this Saturday. Doctor Who's back on Saturday!
Yes, yes it is. So, there you go. Can't say we're just a tech show. You can see what's happening tonight. I don't like Hollyoaks and all that. That's just the ones that are being shown tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. You see the premieres of brand new shows.
Abby and Brittany, huh?
Yeah. Anything new starting, then you can see that and check out whether you like it. So you go through all your shows.
How Not to Live Your Life's never been renewed again. Sorry, I saw it on the list.
I know. Ashamedly. And obviously search for ones that you want.
Cool.
And you see a list of ones that you've missed as well. Right, so the next app I want to show you is called Attachments. Now, Attachments is really useful. That it will show you all the attachments that you've been sent, but you can also send your own ones to people. So, say I wanted to send one to George. Yes, that's his email.
No,
so,
don't send me the...
So send all fan mail.
Don't do that.
But then, of course, you can write in a subject.
No, seriously, don't send me the fan mail.
Send me the fan mail if you really want. And but then the unique feature is that you can attach from your accounts from Box, Dropbox, and Google Drive. So I'm logged into our Dropbox account. See all different people we've collaborated with there, and I could just add our new intro and send to George from Dropbox. So yeah, it's a really neat little app.
And mine is this awesome game, which basically it's like Temple Run, but slightly different, where it's kind of got a storyline.
I love these startup messages down here. They're like Sims.
Yeah, I love the Sim starter message. It's obviously connected with Game Center.
That's George's Game Center name, so if you want to...
Yeah, you can do that, George Lim, Jorjlim. That's fine, you can do that. So at the moment I want to go Agent Dash, so you select Agent Dash, he does his little dance and runs away. It's kind of got Pixar-esque graphics with, kind of like The Incredibles. So when it loads, the loading does take a while, I will say that. You can choose any like sort of add-ons or boosts or anything like that, so any power-ups. But the graphics, I think, for a game like this are amazing.
Yeah, pretty fantastic.
Just swipe to the left, to the right, to the side, and you basically got to avoid all the obstacles, or you fall.
Or you hit an obstacle.
And basically, you just keep running, but you run through different zones. So you run through the jungle first, then you run into like the hideout, and then you run into like a street, and it's the same 3 lanes, you switch between 3 lanes, you jump over the things, you duck under things, but it kind of tells a story, and as you go, you get more power-ups. It's actually a really fun game, and I found myself on it for about...
Like you said, the graphics look pretty superb.
The graphics are amazing. But I have another one, which has actually been in the news recently. It's called Basketball.
Oh, I've not seen this one.
Now, the reason it's been in the news is because the app developers who developed it, they wanted to do something friendly, but in turn, they basically lost a lot of money. So what Basketball is, it's a new look at basketball, where you've got sort of, let's just play here. You've got obstacles that you have to use. So like here, I've got your ball starts here, and as the robot is done, it's throwing it into the basket. You got to go to the red ones, and then you can hit the white ones to get in. Now the reason this was in the news is because, oh, that was terrible. That was god awful. The reason this was in the news is because the app developers actually made this, and they wanted it to be a free app that you then paid to unlock with an in-app purchase, but as a result, no one was paying and buying it as an in-app purchase.
Yeah.
So they kind of lost a lot of money, and they essentially went homeless.
Oh.
Not literally like homeless, but like they've been living on their friends' couches and stuff for a while because no one would buy the full game.
What?
It's like $2.99 for the full game, and you unlock all the obstacles and all the things to create in the multiplayer version. It's a really fun game, but maybe if they had released it as a $2.99 game, I don't know, maybe that would have attracted more people. It wasn't like the reason they did it that way is because that's what a lot of the top free apps were doing.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that kind of get featured more, where you kind of go, oh, it's a free app and it's got loads of in-apps, and that's what they wanted to do. And it's a shame, but that's Basketball.
Yeah.
You get
As we were saying, it's just
robot
another one of those things that's gone free to play.
It's $1.99 to unlock all the things.
Yeah, that's cool. That really shows how much real life basketball needs an update.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so if you've been reading the news lately, then you may have noticed a little story. There has been a Apple versus Samsung court case.
Yes, and it's finally kind of over.
Yeah, well,
I say kind of over. It's been going on for ages.
Yeah, I still think there's a long way to go yet on it as well.
But we've got numbers now.
Yeah, got numbers. We've got
a really, really big number.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of research into this, and there could be a lot of fallout from this. It's not quite as simple as some people think.
Go.
Right. Well, actually, first of all, I want to know your sort of thoughts, or just start up who you think was in the right, who you think's in the wrong.
Okay. Well. Okay, so here are my basic points that I'm going to make. Apple patent everything.
Yeah, we can agree on that.
They patent literally everything.
Yeah.
They patented the rectangle.
That's exactly in my notes, yeah.
Right? But on the same account, Samsung, they've been doing it for years, they're blatantly copying Apple. Like, there are some things where they have blatantly copied. They had a 30-pin dot connector on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, Samsung aren't helping themselves. It can be done differently.
It can be done differently. In fact, they even, Apple themselves held up a Nokia Lumia in the courtroom and said, look, Samsung, you can make phones completely different.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is basically my same kind of stance on it, that Apple do patent just everything. Yeah. They've been kind of using those patents to almost bully Samsung. Well, I don't think it's so much targeted at Samsung, it's actually more Android as casual.
I actually have a very interesting point to make on that, because I knew you'd make that point, because we have discussed this off camera. Mm-hmm. But actually Google have come out and said, no. Google have come out and said, this isn't targeting Android. This isn't targeting core Android.
Well, Google got their heads up their ass then.
But it's Google. You know, they are the makers of Android.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the problem is that this is all about patents.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Apple can go after Google now if they want, because Apple hold a patent on pinch to zoom.
Yeah.
As well as Android hold a patent for notifications. So
yeah.
the drop-down notification sensor.
I don't... As much as Apple are in the wrong for patenting everything, they're just taking advantage of the fact that they can.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The US patent system is broken.
Yeah, because we must stress actually that most of the courts ruled this out. They ruled out the entire court case. It was only the US courts. Our court here in the United Kingdom completely basically chucked out the window. And really, I think that's how it should have been. It should have been kept completely out of court. It should have been settled out like Samsung wanted. Because people don't realise how much Samsung and Apple are in partnership with one another. Most of Apple's devices are at least 30% Samsung products.
Well, I think the products and they're different parts of Samsung. As much as they are all under the Samsung name, Samsung Mobile and Samsung Electronics are different parts.
Yeah.
You know, as much as they kind of put Samsung Electronics into Samsung Mobile, they don't really talk. Apple aren't suing Samsung Electronics; they're suing Samsung Mobile.
Well, that was my stance on Apple anyway. That I think a lot of their patents are sort of bullying and kind of preventing a lot of progression from the competition. I'll go on more on that in a minute because you interrupted me last time I wanted to say my stance. But at the same time, Samsung have been shamelessly copying some of their software design. I don't think they can say that so much about functions because I think functions is something that can be improved on with software across all OSs. Like you can completely change the UI of something, but I think features are something that can only be progressed.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people seem to think that Apple were the first people to do voice assistants, which isn't true.
No.
Like
no.
I don't blame Samsung for doing S voice, but I do blame them for copying exactly pretty much the same design.
Yeah, it was the little button at the bottom with the bubbles, and then it pretty much did the exact same feature set, with a little bit more, but it looked the same. Yeah. That's Samsung's problem. They copy Apple's design so they can go, you want an iPhone? This looks like an iPhone and works like an iPhone, kind of.
Yeah. But that's, again, the sort of problem is that consumers like to go with what they know. They're scared of change, they're scared of adopting change, and that's been a lot of the problem with Windows Phone as well, is that, and Windows 8, is that people aren't used to the interface, that it's a complete departure from anything that they've known, which is a scary thing for the average sort of consumer. That's why Microsoft are doing whatever they can to remove the start button on Windows 8 to get people used to the new interface, and then hopefully move people to Windows Phone 8 as well.
I mean, Samsung were trying to put the Windows start button back into it, aren't they?
Yeah.
We'll get onto that in a bit.
Yeah, that's quite a funny story. But I mean, Android, iOS, they use the grid style apps launcher, but that wasn't anything new with iOS either. That's been around since.
Oh God, that's been around since. I remember my little Sony Walkman phone had a icon grid launcher. Well, it was a touchscreen, but
in fact, actually, probably Palm was one of the first. Actually, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I have a Palm upstairs, and yes, it was the same UI as the iPhone. Essentially, when I saw the iPhone, I went, "Hey, it's my Palm Pilot, but in colour."
Funny thing, touchscreen as well, but with a stylus.
Yeah, like I said, Apple are abusing the system, but they can.
Yeah,
like as much as it's mean and horrible, and they shouldn't. They can.
Yeah, well, again, I don't so much say that they shouldn't. Like they should. If the system would allow me to patent a cup, then I'll patent a cup. Then everyone will have to pay me for using a cup.
Yeah,
like that's not sort of abuse of. It's just using kind of.
Well, yeah, but a rectangle's a rectangle at the end of the day.
That's what I mean. It's not Apple's fault. It's the patent system.
It's the patent system. The US patent system is broken. That is all.
But I do believe that it's Apple's fault for making this go as far as it is.
Well, because Apple are aggressive. Apple want to win. Apple want money. That's like, at the end of the day, that's what every company wants. And the fact that Samsung were trying loads of little tricks, they put out a press release saying, hey, look at these designs for our phone before 2007. It looks like the iPhone. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like Apple were like, well, come on. As much as that's kind of not playing fair in a way from Samsung's point.
Well, I mean, I did like the press release that Samsung put out. This was an internal memo. Apple one was leaked, but I particularly liked the Samsung one. That they said that we hope that the hearts of consumers will go after a company that puts innovation over litigation, which, like, a lot of people disagree with. But in my opinion,
not that a lot of people disagree with. I don't think a lot of people care. At the end of the day, I'm gonna sit from a consumer standpoint, not an Apple fanboy standpoint, not a tech geek standpoint. From a consumer standpoint, I walk into Phones for You, I want a phone that works. That's all I want. If it has an Apple logo on it, my mate's got an iPhone, my other mate's got an iPhone, I want an iPhone. At the end of the day, you know, it's what people have. And a lot of people have iPhones. That's why Apple is so popular.
Yeah, although I think that has been steadily decreasing quite a lot.
I disagree.
Nearly everyone I know these days do have a Galaxy S3.
Nearly everyone I know these days has an iPhone. It's actually really annoying because I remember when the first iPhone came out and I was like, check out my iPhone, check out my iPhone, and now everyone's got one. I'm like, oh, I want something new.
Yeah.
No?
No, I know exactly how you feel with that.
But I don't know. He's down. I can see your point. They don't care who's suing who. As much as Samsung have said that, I don't think many consumers will care. Geeky consumers will kind of go, yes, Samsung don't sue people. Let's support Samsung. Let's boycott Apple. But other people are just going to go, which phone works?
Well, I just don't, because I'm always one who likes to support our underdog, and everyone seems to be against Samsung at the moment. And
I'm not against Samsung.
Though that they've...
Well, no, I'm not against Samsung, but I'm not against Samsung in this point. I just think Samsung have done a lot of things wrong, and we've seen it.
Yes.
You know, they did their little pop-up shop, and they clearly put App Store icons in it.
Yeah, well, and they actually released it into their actual OS.
Yeah,
but
so...
Yeah, like I said, it's shameless software design by some of them, but it's making things look familiar, that they want to look like an iPhone alternative, and that was their downfall. But at the same time, like, they're making Samsung sound like they aren't innovative, where Samsung, I believe, has been one of the most innovative companies this year. Far more than Apple. Apple have done bugger all this year, to be honest.
Apple haven't done much this year. I will say that first.
Or even much last year.
But I want to know what you mean by Samsung innovating. Because what Samsung have done is Samsung have done what Apple have always done, which is taken someone else's product and made it better.
No, not really. Like, this is what I mean. The S3, like, the way it detects your eyes and everything, like when they're open, when they're closed, the way it reacts to you, how it's designed for humans.
That's such a stupid tagline. I have said that.
But it's innovative. Like, it's something new.
Yeah.
Like, that's. I've never even seen that before.
I suppose I will give... I don't want to take sides on this one because I think both companies are kind of in the wrong.
No, I do. Like I said, I think it's been settled out of court considering the partnership that they have.
No, again, I don't think the partnership that they have is going to make any difference. The fact that Apple has sued Samsung Electronics are not going to care. Apple is still giving them money for parts. They are, as much as they're all called Samsung, they're very different. They're like Sony, but actually they're like old Sony. Sony and Bravia, the people who made the Bravia and the people who made the PS3, they never spoke to each other. They didn't care. If someone sued the TV side, the PS3 side would be like, fine, you know, we're going to carry on how we are. It's the same here with Samsung. And I think that's another point for Samsung. If Samsung worked as kind of one just whole company, then we might see an effect, but I don't think we're going to see anything.
Yeah, like I said, I've done a lot of research into this, and Samsung do have, like, their hands in everything.
Yes.
Like, literally, it's ridiculous. I didn't realise that they're into life insurance in Korea and everything. Wow. They do manufacturing.
I know they do fridges.
Whole buildings, yeah. I mean, nearly every consumer product. I mean, fridges, TVs, laptops, mobiles, literally anything. They do, like, pharmaceutical like technology, like for actual lasers.
They do, like, drugs.
They probably do that as well.
Samsung Pharmaceuticals.
No, I actually genuinely think they probably do. Like, I mean, in Korea mainly.
Samsung cars.
No, they have a cut and rental.
They have a cut and rental. They're not called Samsung cars though.
They practically saved rental at one point, which is actually quite amazing, considering that it was a family business when it first started.
But like I said, Samsung Mobile took a hit. Samsung Electrics, nothing's going to change from that partnership.
No, although I sort of think, like you said, they almost should.
They should. They definitely should. I agree. They should.
Like, the thing is that probably part of the outcome of the court case is that probably Samsung do have to continue to supply parts to Apple.
Ports.
Well,
ports.
Probably ports as well.
Like new, smaller ports. Rumours.
That was a geeky joke and a half. But, I mean, Samsung, I was just having a look. They provide RAM for nearly all products, whether that's MacBooks, iPads, iPods, iPhones. They do ARM processors for a lot of the devices. They do solid state drives for MacBook Airs and the MacBook Pro Retina. And they also supposedly provide the actual Retina displays themselves according to the parts numbers from iFixit's teardowns. So, like I said, that's about 30% of the components in every device is made by Samsung.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's continuing. Samsung want to appeal. Apple don't want them to. What was the number in there? It was 1.56 billion US.
It is
that
crazy.
was a number floating around the net. That was trending, I think, at one point.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
I love that. I love that scorecard tweet. The Apple 1.56 billion, Samsung no.
The thing is, they should really say Samsung Mobile because Samsung's still quite, you know, they're doing well.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know.
You always like to support the underdog. I know you do.
I just think it's just, I don't know. Apple always tried to look this sort of white, clean company when really what they are doing is quite bad, really.
Fair enough. Let's move on. Well, actually, before we move on, what do you guys think? Because that's quite important. It is your show. What do you guys think? Please leave your opinions on the Samsung Apple suit.
Yeah, especially actually how you do think that this will
pan out.
Yeah, pan out, but how it will affect Android as well, because I do think that it will scare and prevent innovation from Android, but also from startups as well. Like, they're not going to be wanting to copy and improve features as much that the competition is.
I don't think it's going to scare Android. Startups maybe, but I don't think Android's going to be scared. Because like I said, Google have said outright today, they've said, you know, it's not fighting anything core Android. It's not, you know, as much as slide to unlock.
That's the problem, is that it's a scare tactics. That's what I was on about the bullying, is that they hold patents on, like I said, like the pinch to zoom and everything. That's on all of them.
Yeah, I think that's actually been settled. I think that's been settled. I couldn't tell you 100%, but I think that has been agreed with, I think it's a group that they're all with. I can't remember the name of it on the top of my head right now, but it's a group that they're all with that has basically said, everyone is allowed to use this pattern. You still own it, but everyone is allowed to use it because it's such a fundamental. I think that's like part of the rectangle pattern is under that. You know, as much as you can make it a rectangle, you can't make it a rectangle with curves, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, like I said, let us know. And please, if you make YouTube videos, if you make tech videos, if you make normal videos, whatever, leave video responses. We love to see those video responses.
So the product we have for you today is a iPad accessory. Now, the iPad, ever since I got my Nexus, has become a bit redundant because it kind of just sticks around on the side and has no real meaning because of, you can just sort of just pick up your Nexus wherever it is. It's light, it's easy to carry around the house, and basically you have no other reason for it. If you go outside,
iPad's really bulky.
Yeah, the iPad feels sort of really bulky. If you need to go outside, it's not as easy just to chuck in your backpack and carry around with you. Whereas a Nexus, you can just sort of stick in your pocket. And for me, the iPad is really sort of a home kind of device. But whenever I've wanted to use anything with a bit more power, I've always just stuck on my laptop. But now, just this accessory, it's only simple, but just it holds it up for you, ready to go. Obviously, being a ARM-based tablet, it's instant. The iPad's instant on, so if it's already next to you, already in a monitor kind of position, you can flick it on and instantly start using it for research or whatever you're doing. Keep it by your bed.
I'm not gonna lie, the design is gorgeous.
Yeah, I thought so. It makes it look like the Mac.
It's the iMac. It's the mini iMac.
The iMac.
It is. It's got the hole and everything.
Yeah, it has a cable tidy, so your charger goes in through here. And yeah, comes on up. It's very well built. It's full stainless steel, and I believe this was 15 quid.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I'll leave the link below, and you can grab one yourself if you so please.
I'm just trying not to break it, but there's what's that line for?
The line is just where when it comes in the packaging, you pre-build it yourself. It's not already pre-built. You have like a little screw on there. You just screw on.
Oh, okay. So you can't
rubber
adjust the height?
clamps. No, you can't adjust the height.
Okay.
But
it's nice. I do like
it's
it.
very nice.
Christmas, bud. Christmas.
Yes.
Please.
Indeed. I'll try and keep that in mind.
Please. Yeah. No, it's nice.
No. And so that is it for the first episode of Series 3 of TEChBrits. Would love to know your opinions, so please let us know in the comments and all the usual places.
Yeah, but Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
there is one thing.
Ooh, one more thing.
One more thing. Sorry, Steve, we're taking your phrase. There is one more thing, because if you've been watching the episode carefully enough, you have noticed something. That behind me,
Oh, yeah.
there's a gap. There is a gap where the PlayStation used to lie. That is because my poor buddy Ryan here has had a tragic loss.
I was trying to avoid this.
I'm sorry. But he's going to live a better life. Sadly, while we were away over our interview series week, Ryan's... Don't cry. It's okay. Ryan's Xbox 360 sadly red-ringed.
It was such a painful sight. I just want to play. I want to play some Halo, and it's red-ringed.
You try to get it repaired, and
Try to revive it.
it didn't work. So, I thought it's only fitting that we immortalize it by placing it on the shelf to forever be part of the TEChBrits set. Let's have a moment's silence.
And that's the new shelf, folks.
So yeah, what do you think of the new edition? It's really pretty, isn't it?
I saw that actually. I'm glad it went to a good place.
Yeah. Although, is that meant to be like that?
No, that's not.
So anyway, that is it for this very first episode of TEChBrits Season 3. We hope, like always, you have enjoyed it. If you are one of the new subscribers from the interview series, thank you very much, first of all. And we hope you've enjoyed what you've seen today. And tell your friends.
Yes, please do. Please spread the word and help make this a better show for you guys.
Exactly. We are the AppNet of tech shows, but we don't charge you.
Well, duh. No. Okay. No, we're free. We'll always be free. And that's where staying.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you.
And goodbye.
Ciao.